Hello everybody, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're well. There's a lot of problems out there, as we know, not just in the States but worldwide. But yeah, that's what's taking the press at the moment. Yeah, for good reasons, I guess. But hopefully, no, this video isn't going to solve any of that, but it might help you to relax for 5 minutes, because it's concerning an old effect. If you're not familiar with the Mandela effect, I've got quite a few things to cover in this video, so I can't really explain the whole thing because then this video is going to get longer. But yes, I hope you will find it interesting. Certainly, if you know something about the Mandela effect, I don't know if you've come across this particular example before, but yeah. So what you see before you is a prop from the Walt Disney film The World of Tomorrow, done in 2015. And this is how I first came across this particular subject, because what I was going to do was I was going to go into this and do a bit about the film, but then I got more involved with the actual New York World Fair itself, because you know, not just what you see before you, but there's some other images that seem to be of the same effect as well. So as I say, this is a prop, but it's a fairly faithful prop because the film actually did it quite good. Well, you know, I mean, if you don't know much about the film, it was set in 1964, and yeah, the whole premise is just like the New York World Fair had an exhibit called The World of Tomorrow. The science fiction of it was that there was a world of tomorrow. But anyway, more of that later, maybe. So it did it very well. So I've got to apologise slightly now because there's a lot of windows I've got open and I don't know in which order they are. So I'm going to, and also I can't get everything in this camera, so I might have to move it as well from left to right. So if you get dizzy, then I apologise. Okay, so yeah, this is what got me started on it. Now, if you happen to be one of those people who aren't familiar with the Mandela effect, then you might look at this and you say, well, what's wrong with it? What's the problem? Well, the problem is, if I put the ruler there, obviously the Earth is presented on its axis here, so you know I'm doing the same. If we get the tip of Florida and going down, it goes through the middle of South America. And you might say again, what's the problem with that? Well, the problem with that is it's wrong. It's here we have a proper map, and yeah, if you take Florida, I can never say that properly. Florida. There you go. It basically just about hits Ecuador. So South America is not really south so much. It's yeah, well, as you can see, it's more to the right. So that's the problem. Now, I don't want that big. Let's get that out of the way. Now, as I said, this is a prop, so let's start going to the real thing, the real New York Fair, World Fair, even. Okay, well, yeah, let's go to the beginning. The first World Fair, well, actually, this is the San Francisco one. It's not the New York one. So it's interesting that in America you seem to have two at the same time. You had this one, and yeah, it's probably not quite in the frame there, but you can see the poster. And you had the one in New York. So let's come away from that one and aha, okay, good. This is a poster for the 1939 World Fair, which is the first one. Excuse me. Yeah, the World of Tomorrow, the film, is based on the 1964 one, but the inspiration for that came with this 1939 one because it was a success and failure all at the same time. So people fondly remembered this one, and they wanted to recreate it in 1964. So it was held in the same place, which was Corona Park, an unfortunate name these days, also known as Flushing Meadows. So they were both located in the same place. I get the feeling that they wanted it to stay there forever, more or less. But it didn't. It was a financial failure. So because of that, after I don't know if it had a second year or what happened after that, but it did fail financially. So yeah, it went away. But it was a success in the sense that people really enjoyed it, and it was all about what they thought the future would be, and as the theme of the thing is. So in that respect, fantastic success, but a financial flop. Now, yeah, the controversy here, as with the 64 one, I mean, I'm not a total expert on it, but like through looking through some of the documentaries about it, was that so if we take the 64 one for example, Robert Moses was put in charge of the thing, and what he had to do was go to France to argue with an institution called the Bureau of International Expositions, because the first kind of World Fair was Crystal Palace, the time with Victoria and Prince Albert. Prince Albert sort of was the inspiration for that. And sometime after, other countries started to, they wanted something of the same and started copying it. And France somehow got put in charge of doing these things. And their general rule was to have one, say, every 10 years, and it would last 6 months. There were possible changes to that, but if you wanted, I don't know, to change the year or something, but you had to go and see them and talk about it. Robert Moses did that in, before 64, obviously, and he was told to go away. Part of the problem with that was because just like this one, as far as I can gather, is that he wanted it to be there like always. So it wasn't going to be an occasional thing every 10 years or something. It's going to be there always. And the 64 World Fair, it lasted 2 years, maybe 3. I'm not. It got through 2 years. And the first year they wanted because they wanted it to be a financial success, so they were looking for 40 million visitors, but they got 27 million, which is, that's an amazing amount, but it was, so it was successful in that sense, but unfortunately another financial failure. So I'm wondering, I'm not quite clear on this 1939 one, whether they had the same problem, because if you got 2 world fairs, well, one in San Francisco and one here, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not going to concentrate on that too much, so someone else can cover that. However, this is the poster for the 1939 one, and they've tilted the world the other way, but the same problem. So if we take Florida and put it down, it cuts through America, South America again. So again, if you want to look at a real map, if we go down there you go. I mean, okay, this one's tilted a bit, but you know, big difference. So if any of you aren't familiar with the Mandela effect, well, it can affect things in different ways, but obviously, so again, one of my propositions is which I make in every video is that either this one here is a graphic mistake done by the artist, or somehow we have had the Mandela effect done in a worldwide sense, and it's literally changed maps. Now you might think, well, okay, this is one mistake, but as we see, this is the 1939 one, and although I've only shown you the prop so far, but I'll show you one of the real images from the 64 one. Well, okay, so if they made a mistake then, they seem to have not learnt their lesson and carried on with the mistake. So, okay, I think there's a bit before we move on to 64 proper. There is another poster for this is this part of the exhibition of 64, and it's still there. The Unisphere, but we'll come back to that. Yeah. So yeah, that's the San Francisco one. We don't want that now. I've got another image for you. So I've shown you that one. Yeah, this is going to be fun. No, my luck, it's all the way over there. No, I've lost it. Okay. Yeah. Oh no, found it. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So yeah, this is the other one of the other images they had, and this point and ball thing that was one of the symbols, because actually, yeah, if I do that photo, I don't know if you can see it very well, but the ball and that point thing, whatever it's supposed to represent, is actually there. So that was the sort of logo. However, so sticking with the 1939 one, again we have the same kind of map problem. So either there's a Mandela effect going on here, or the graphic designers for doing these things is not very good. There was another one here for the I've probably lost it again, but there was another interesting one here. Do you remember the film Rocket Man? Another Walt Disney film, about the rocket pack. It had a Howard Hughes poster, Howard Hughes Industries, and a couple of men with that sort of rocket suit. So again, that seems to have been inspired from that. And kind of funnily enough, in 64, they did have a man with a jetpack on, not quite as good as the Rocket Man type one, but I think it featured in a James Bond film as well. And today we do sort of have that. So it's still not quite where they want it, but it's the idea hasn't gone away. Anyway, that's another matter. So yeah, so I think Yeah, I think that's about it for 39. Let's get us up to date with 64. Okay, now this is a prop. Um, well, it's actually it's a prop from the film. I don't know if they made the prop or they went back and bought it at an auction or something, because that's the World of Tomorrow badge there. But interestingly enough, if you see the symbol, now the symbol for the 64 World Fair was the Unisphere, and you're sort of seeing a representation of that. But in this one, I know it's a bit hard because they've used blue, but in this one, the map representation here is pretty much this one, which is so it is what it should be, really. So it's just interesting that not all the images from this World Fair are in the Mandela map. So why some change and some not is another mystery. But anyway, so let's go to the Unisphere. You can just about see it. I don't really want to move the camera if I can help it, but yes. So I'll move it. There you go. So that was built for the World Fair in 1964. There were all sorts of other exhibitions. There were all sorts of companies there. Some people seem to think it was just a Walt Disney thing. Walt Disney did kind of quite well out of it, because they didn't actually technically have their own exhibits there. They had 3 or 4, but they were all sponsored by other companies like Pepsi, Ford, So financially, they did very well out of it, and a lot of what they did there, the robotic type things, went on to their other things. They were actually, once the thing was going downhill, and they needed to sell it off and all that. As best I can tell from the documentaries, that they would have offered the whole park to Walt Disney, so it would have been another Walt Disney theme park place. But they decided against it for whatever reason, and they then opened the one up in Florida. So it's always interesting what could have been in history. Ironically, they could have probably done quite well if they did go for it, because even if it did fail, say 10 years later, I mean, property prices and all that. I mean, anyway, so what you see before you is what was one of the central exhibits, which was, and this was the logo they used for a lot of their posters and merchandising. But from the geography type side of it, what we see here, we do not see the Mandela effect. What we see here is, if I put that there, that is a proper world map. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't use it for navigating the world, but as a representation of the world, it's pretty good. So it's more it's as it should be. One of the other things one of the other symbolic things of this Unisphere is that these rings around it. I don't know if I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to represent. Whether it's supposed to represent satellites, or it's maybe some variation on the themes of the atomic symbol. Or maybe it's sort of a quasi thing between the both of them, like whatever you want to imagine it to be. I don't know. I'm not quite clear on that. But it is symbolic in the sense of, like, when you see merchandising for the 64 World Fair, this is where it comes from. And it's still there today. So yeah, you can go visit it. Uh, oh yeah, okay. There's a. Should have showed you that in the first place. Uh, I really need to sort these windows out. I told you we'd have fun with these windows. Yeah, okay. So this is more. You know what I showed you at the beginning was the prop. Well, the props were designed around these advertising things, the badges and the posters. And as you can see, I hope you can see, it's a Mandela affected map. So there's more of them there. They're all pretty much the same. There might be, oh well, that one. See, that one there is actually as it should be. You know, so it's kind of funny. You know, I mean that one's sort of presented in the field that it's standing in, but I don't know when it comes to the other ones, you still get the stand under it, but why would they do it different? You know, what would be the other reason is a question I would ask, but that's me. So yeah, that is the more traditional image of the whole of when they were advertising it to the world on posters. So oh yeah, yeah. This is well, this one not so much with this one's interesting because I think it's a Mandela effect map. It's a bit harder to say because of the angle, but what the reason why I put it here, I just find it kind of amusing because Florida, I got it right. No, I didn't. Is to the left here of that ring, which is weird because usually when there's an artistic impression, that they usually do it going straight down or to the right, and you can see why because that's on the map. But for some reason, the artist has done it to the left there. It could be because he didn't want it to get hidden behind that line, but it does sort of mess up the Gulf of Mexico a bit. But the other couple of interesting things on this particular artistic impression is that because the whole thing with the Unisphere is that you can see through it. Not exactly a hollow Earth, but you can see through it. But over where you see Australia, what I find amusing is they've left out New Zealand. So sorry, New Zealand, but according to American Airlines, you don't exist. You're not welcome. Go away, and you can't complain because you don't exist. Now this was obviously done as a lot of the things for the World Fair were done as tie-ins, and this is American Airlines tie-in version with the World Fair. Joking aside on the New Zealand thing, because I know why they I think I know why they messed up. If I ever get there again, no, it was over here. No. Oh yeah. Anyway, I'll show you this one. Okay. Yeah, because no, that's not a good idea. I won't show you that one. Oh, for crying out loud! Where is it? I had it. There it is. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll tell you why New Zealand's missed because on here. Oh, okay, it's on the other side, but New Zealand's there. When I did a better picture where you could actually see New Zealand, so I had it where you could see Australia, and even then I had a problem seeing New Zealand. For a moment, I thought it wasn't there. So I think that was the problem. The artist, even when you look at it, because Australia is so big on that thing, and I mean New Zealand's not the smallest of countries, but in comparison with Australia, it's just you hardly notice it. Sorry, New Zealand, but you hardly notice it when you look at it. I nearly missed it, and I was looking directly at it. So anyway, that's why you got dropped off New Zealand, I think. But the other interesting thing about this poster is, now this is 64. So we see the Empire State Building in the back here. Yeah, there you go. So see the Empire State Building. Now, yeah, okay, by that time New York had a fair few skyscrapers, and whoever did the artistry for this thought, well, it's the world of tomorrow, I'll just do a load of skyscrapers. But I'm wondering if he popped into the planning office, because the Twin Towers, well, they opened in 1973. But obviously they must have been in the planning office and in the planning stages probably about maybe 10 years before. So don't know. But I'm just wondering if he did pop in there, because it does seem like he's included the Twin Towers. Maybe I don't know. Maybe someone else will know more about that one. But it's not really the Mandela effect here. But well, this globe might be. I just thought that was interesting. So yeah, okay, and yes, okay. This is a ticket from the for it, $2. Wow. Now, what I find interesting about this is, so they have the symbol again of the world, the Unisphere, but in this is, sorry, I can't enlarge it anymore, but if you actually look at where North America and South America, that it is actually, you'll probably have to take my word for it, it is actually this map, version of it. So it is as it should be. So that's kind of weird, but yeah, I think okay. Probably mention. Yeah, let's talk about the film a bit. I mean, that's what got me here. So if you go to this page, it's where the props are. Some of the props used in the in the making of the film. The film was a financial flop. I wouldn't say it was not a success though, because I mean, ticket sales were apparently somewhere in the region of 190 million. So that's a lot of tickets. But sorry, I've got that wrong. 210 million for ticket sales. So that's how many people that is exactly, I don't know, but it's considering some films are lucky if they spend 60 million on it and they get 30 million back, but that was the problem. The film cost to produce, it cost 190 million, and so then you're thinking, okay, well maybe they made it even, but then on top of that, so that was 190 was the production, and about 140 was for the ticket sales and advertising costs. So overall, financially, it was a failure. I think, unfortunately, they were looking for not exactly the same amount as you might get for a Star Wars film, although that would have been nice. Obviously, that would have been the icing on the cake. But if they managed to get half of that, that's the sort of ballpark they were looking for, and it didn't happen. However, I have heard news that they are going to make another one, part 2. It'll probably come out in 2021. So I presume that they're going to look at the either get a better script or yeah, I saw the film at the cinema. It was good. It was okay, but I think part of the problem was, especially with the advertising, somehow he was just expecting more. Um, I mean, I could go into. I don't really want to do a major expose on the film, but yeah, because it wasn't. It was okay, Yeah, it had George Clooney, so they probably thought that would bring in a lot of people, and he was all right in it. But then again, that probably put the production up as well. But it is interesting that is that was another Walt Disney project. So I mean that's probably another reason why they spent a lot of money on it, because it was something close to their heart, if you like, in the sense of what the World Fair was. Okay, so that's the. You can go there if you want. That's something from the film. As you see, they recreated it quite well, and the Unisphere. I don't think they had to. I think that's the real thing there. As far as I know. So they saved a bit of money there. Yeah, this is just a set of playing cards. The reason why I think the next so I'm getting there now. Yeah, the reason why I'm showing it is, again, it's got the Unisphere in it, and it's got the proper world. That's not a Mandela map. This is another image of the Unisphere, but again, so this was done in '64, and the Unisphere again, and as you can see, it's an artistic impression, but even so, it's as the world should be, kind of. It's not a Mandela map. That's what I'm saying. So. Why? Who knows? Okay, I think yeah, I think that's covered everything. I hope I haven't made you too dizzy with all the windows. So there's for whatever reason, the 1939 and the 1964, and even the props for 2015, well, obviously they had to be based on 64, whether they realised they were wrong or not. I don't know if you can come up with another explanation for it. The general explanation I've got for it is the Mandela effect. If you've got a better one, then let's hear it. Can't think of. No, yeah, sorry, I'm just making you dizzy again. Okay, well, it's probably gone on a bit longer than I hoped, but it's a few things to cover. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed it, or at least get some information out of it. And I'll leave you with that today. I hope the rest of the day goes well for you. In the name of Jesus, I hope everything is okay for you in the world. I know we're going through some bad times, but anyway, let the peace of Christ be with you, who and wherever you are. In Jesus' name, amen.